Hello and welcome to Bunto Silent Dogfight, episode number 22, St. Tommy. And of course, our special guest tonight is St. Tommy. As per usual, we'll open up the room to participants after the interview. Thanks. Tommy, welcome to the show. And if you didn't know, my name is Bunto Skiffler. How you doing?
Hey, Bunto, thank you. Thank you for this.
You had a good day, Tommy? Busy? Monday?
Very busy. Got a couple of new certifications. Excited about those.
Oh, you had to tell us about it. Well, let me tell our listeners about our fabulous guest. He's located in North Carolina, a father of 3 known children, and a very popular Great Debate community personality, having hangouts almost every night. Tommy, I just got to know off that fact. Saint, let me call you Saint. How many shows do you do like a week?
I participate in, I would say, approximately 70 hangouts a week.
70?
And seize the opportunity to host 3 on average in the past 4 months. 3 to 4 hangouts a week.
I see.
Sometimes more, sometimes less.
Now, just ask, do you keep your hangouts up or you take them down or what happens?
Yeah. Most of the time, I don't keep anything published or posted, sometimes unlisted, but usually private. Any hangout, I usually shift them right to private.
Okay. Why do you have a preference for the private hangout rather than, the public? Because your hangouts are very interesting. I'm just curious. Do you get more revelations with them being private?
Yeah. Whether if a hangout is public, if it is with outside observers, it influences how people interact and what they share about themselves. Peeps tend to be a little bit more rigid, a little bit more guarded,
Right, guarded.
a bit more careful in what they say, and a little bit less relaxed, less candid, and less. They will test fly hunches less often.
Right.
It's public, yes.
It's funnier. And I was just thinking, Tommy, that's almost like science, when like quantum physics, when they're like watching the atom, it influences the experiment. If you watch it, if you observe something, it affects the experiment. But same thing is applicable towards hangouts.
Oh
If
yeah,
they're live, they're not so crazy.
yeah. If a peeps, including myself, of course, are more prone to be offended
Right.
if name calling occurs, or less prone to be offended if it's not in front of your women or your beloveds, then
Right.
you're less prone. If you don't feel like that it's going to be etched in history for all to see forever, one is it influences how one behaves and how one thinks even.
Now,
And part of the goal, yeah, go ahead.
that was interesting. Tommy, what I just want to ask is that, this comes to mind is when you, have the people, interchange in your hangout, do you like try to have them, reveal things? Is it like therapeutic or is it just, I mean, could you just tell the listeners what kind of subjects you cover in your hangout, the titles?
Well, the structure, how I might guide a hangout varies from moment to moment within the hangout and the participants that are there. Might at times I have been rather rigid about insisting or prescribing a certain topic, like the word should, and how it's
Okay.
and have a group contemplation. Other times it is whatever anybody wants to talk about, or if they want to make confessions or accusations or proclamations, it's open game. No guidance nor
So it
censorship.
is outreach, people can interact.
Well, oh yes, it is. It is meant primarily when I throw a hangout. It is meant primarily for my good, pleasure, entertainment, and education, and secondarily for the good of the participants, that they might
Not
contemplate something good or something helpful.
right,
Or
healthy. Okay, I like to say that is a very unique for a theist because, like, I would say on the whole, the theist hangout is usually God talk, but you know, you are open to the whole spectrum of, you know, the way society works, you know, anything that we have to interact with in our reality, in our society.
Well, it seems reasonable and good not to have any topic to be taboo.
Right.
It's okay, not to talk about um, dick sucking. Excuse my lewdness. I mean, fellatio,
It
or
comes up a lot, right?
talk about whether Christ Jesus himself was toilet trained as an infant, or any subject, whether it is the Virgin Mary's vagina, or
Boy,
oh my gosh, that's something you
no, no,
can't.
I know these hangouts are going to be looked for now.
Very
Um,
taboo, or something like sexuality management, or not being freaked out by one's sexual experience, any kind of
Interesting.
fear management, how to see things more efficiently.
Now, just to ask you, Saint, okay, you prefer the private over the public. When you have to do the public hangout, I mean, how do you, you know, structure those? How do you control those
I will usually
differently?
spring it always with maybe a 5 second notice. I'll announce we're going public, five,
Right.
4, and then go public. And usually I employ heavy doses of Theo comedy. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, keep it light, keep it light. And
All right.
yeah, that's how I
Okay.
do it. Usually don't last for long, not usually long, a public hangout. Then I'll go private again.
Oh, interesting. That is okay. Well, compared to like your public hangout to like the Nadia show, what are, you know, the differences there, just for our viewers? The idea that you have.
That is one of the supreme excellent part of Nadia's hosting is its tolerance, and that her hangouts afford visionaries and peeps of all different stripes to really express themselves and to bicker or to reason uncensored. I have seen, without a doubt, the most wondrous variety of individuals in Nadia's hangouts of all different mindsets, perspectives. Well, not all different, but many different extreme mindsets and understandings. The hangouts that I host are usually not so free, laissez-faire. They're not,
Okay.
as they're more focused, goal oriented, and more censoring of some behaviors, and more encouraging of other behaviors.
That's true, but you know, I'll say this. You know, I myself included. I think that your hangouts are more interesting than Nadia's. Why? Because it seems like with a Nadia hangout, I can come back like 10 days later, 10 months later, 10 years later, and it's the same sort of conversation. You know, you ever get that idea when you know see Nadia, the Nadia show, and then your stuff is, you know, different
I
usually.
guess concerning Nadia's, it's usually the us peeps on G Plus. We do tend to have a shtick, or a party line, or a perspective, and we can be kind of repetitive in what is proposed, and repetitive in how we dance with each other, reasonably dance with each other,
Okay.
and so it can be. It can be. You've seen. We get to know our G plus neighbors, and we know kind of what they're good at and the tunes they sing. It can be a bit trite at times if you've heard the same tune before.
Right.
The participants, I would agree, yes, but I can't really pin that on Nadia on one hand, because that is part of the price that she pays in her tolerance is repeat singers, excuse me,
Right.
participation of participants, and sometimes it can get a bit redundant, and you've heard those arguments between those peeps before, kind of a thing. But I can see that. Yes, yes.
And you know, I should just add this. You should say, you know, disclaimer or a revelation. If you know the people didn't know, I've been kicked out of there like 3 months now from the Naughty Hangouts.
I,
Booted, right? You know, I don't know if she boots a lot of people, but I got booted, right? Now, you have a rep for being a compulsive kicker, Tommy.
I see. Well, I did take lessons on ejaculation. I'm serious. Most of the words that flow out of my mouth, Mr. Stifler, are sincere, very sincere. But anyway,
Okay.
I took lessons from one of our good G Plus hosts, the Brett Keane,
The Brett Keane, right.
who kicks and ejects with unbridled fearlessness upon his will, and good,
Right.
he will eject. And I studied that and thought it through. So yes, in the past, now I have gone through some changes.
Oh,
I no
okay. Tell us about
longer
that.
eject. I no longer eject. I might doghouse somebody, or uh, ask them to invite them to depart. But I don't. Out of rule of thumb, I don't eject.
You don't
It's
just flick them.
rare. No, that's the old me. That's the old me. I used ejection as a reinforcement tool for specific reasons,
All right.
for very specific reasons. If for self-effacement, if a participant began to sincerely efface themselves or demean themselves, out they'd go, ping. Also, if they began to, another one, well, I won't reveal the list, but anyway, I had specific reasons for ejection that thought through, and sometimes they would be very impulsive, but they were specific. They were specific. I would feel it and reach for that ejection button, but I would know why usually.
Have you ever like ejected somebody and then said, "Whoops, I didn't
Yes.
want to do that"?
Oh my God, mixed feelings. Uh, breathtaking to eject. I ejected one participant. It was one of the hardest things I ever did. Couldn't believe I was doing it. It was so.
Have they ever come back to haunt you? Like somebody won't go in your hangout because they got
Yes.
ejected or what?
I learned the hard way that such a social tool of reinforcing things is unnecessarily heavy-handed and leads to damaging relationships.
Hmm.
It's a kind of a social trust thing, not to brutally eject somebody. I've had people protest quit over my ejections of
Right.
participants, and then I have had people uh, protest quit even after I mentioned that I expected them to protest quit after I ejected someone. Anyway, yeah, I've had protest quits, I've had rage quits, pout quits, but mostly I've had fear quits.
Fear
Fear.
coins.
Fear is the biggest reason why I am hated, why I am abhorred, why I am name called freaky deaky. Yes, fear.
Okay.
Fear of the words I say, man. It's they are seen as disgusting, they are seen as vile, evil, etc., etc.
Is
Oh,
this coming from theists or atheists or no distinction whatsoever?
well, oftentimes it's easiest identifiable by theist, because of the proposals I make about the subjective and debatable themes of grace and God.
All
And
right.
but no, it's not just anybody. Fear of the words I say, or what I might propose, is unfortunately not uncommon. It's just not.
Okay, just for the benefit of our listeners, let's switch some gears here, Tommy, to theology. Could you just explain to them exactly your theology of grace so they have an understanding of, let's say they're noobs coming into the great debate community, what they're
Right.
seeing?
Right. Well, I do hold belief in Christ Jesus. You've probably heard about that controversial figure. I hold belief that he is God and that he is the Son of God, and that he was crucified and buried and raised from the dead on the third day for the forgiveness of sin. I do hold that belief, and I believe that I discern or see that most peeps I run into uh, don't seem to be in need of being born again or converted.
Okay.
Whether they hold the faith or whether they hold doubt, or whether they see themselves as agnostic or as Republican or as Mormon or whatever they happen to hold, they don't seem to me, and I mean this quite sincerely, like they are in need of being born again. It's a controversial feeling or discernment. Some propose that people, I think they're called some Calvinists might propose that people are born again before they believe, before they hold the faith. And
Right, that are
that rings
selected.
true to me. That rings true to me. I mean, most peeps I see seem like they are just wondrous and cool. Whether they hold the faith or not, they sure seem good.
Okay, Saint. So you go ahead and spread the good news. How's it going over here? Your estimation, the community.
It seems to, man. It seems to on some days I feel like it's just going over great, man. Like I am giving water to other little kids, thirsty little kids in the desert. You know that God may exist and He may be not mad and pissed off, and He may
Right.
made peace and our sins are forgiven. I mean, and it's all just theory. It's just proposed as possible. I do not, I propose it as opinion, I believe. And people like that. They don't like to be, harassed.
Hectored or told about hell. All right.
Yeah,
Now,
golly, what horrible, who needs that?
who needs? Okay, now, Tom. Well, this, for example, today you were
Mhm.
telling me you were certified as an antinomiist. How could you tell the listeners about that? What the hell does that mean?
Well, there's this thing associated with God known as the Ten Commandments. And it
I've
is,
heard of it.
yes, it is something that is condemning. And it is also good for whatever it's good for. It does point out good things, and it does bring one to the end of oneself. But it is, it's also good for condemning. It is a
Hmm.
ministry of death. That's what it is. Now,
All right.
some believe that the Ten Commandments is Christianity, which is ill-informed. But Christianity, or the good news, is our sins are forgiven
True.
and that all obligations have been met by Him. Whew. And one can relax, and you don't have to do anything or think anything or accept anything or reject anything or
Okay,
bust.
so you explain the good news, and you get called a heretic.
Yeah, the law, antinomian, anti-law, means something about not handling the law well, about accounting it as annulled rather than fulfilled. Now, I'll try and be emphatic about that the law was fulfilled by Christ Jesus, but nonetheless, I get labeled this label called antinomian, which has,
By who?
yes, well, our good neighbor Veckel today
Veckle.
labeled me, and he's quite sincere, and I think he did it out of fear. But he labeled me antinomian, and I thought maybe he did it because he saw me, or his vision of me was promoting licentiousness or promoting sin or promoting fast living or fornication or iniquity.
Wow, those are pretty
He was
damning.
promoting that, but that's not truthful. I do promote the holy law of God is fulfilled, and I declare that the peeps are dead to it, and that whatever it says to those who are under it, but you're not under it, I say. And that's very offensive. That's very
Okay,
disturbing. Very
just
disturbing.
just to
Very,
mention, okay, so you run into, you're spreading the good news, Saint, and then
yes,
you run into other theists,
yes,
Veckel,
yes.
people like Iron Cross, and then, of course, your antagonist, your
Iron,
most well-known antagonist here, Christian Hillbilly.
Ironcross has
All
been
right.
a mixed bag on how he has perceived me. He hears gracious things that I say, but he also holds beliefs about the law and about what he must do and about what we should do, which vex him. So Ironcross seems to be just not sure about
Okay,
me.
did he not say that you're like
I beg
in
your
league with the devil or possessed by the devil, Iron Cross, if I recall correctly?
pardon? That very issue, I confronted Ironcross about accusing another G plus participant of being possessed. And I suggested that he might not have the vision to definitively tell that that person was possessed, and that it might be reckless to say that, and damned ungracious and untruthful to say that, horrible even. to suggest to another human being that they're demon possessed is a brutal thing to do.
Truly saying. Okay, well, let me say this. All right, first, you get called antinomiist,
Right?
then you get called, in league with the devil, possessed by the devil, and
Oh,
then what's Christian Hillbilly's main
well, he is disturbed.
acts?
He seemed to be very instantly. We were buds for a
You were
short
bought.
minutes. Yes. We talked about him riding on the subway with other individuals who might be of a different culture and how gracious he was to them and who he was with.
Different culture. I love
And,
that. Different culture.
and then all of a sudden, I was reassuring some other individuals about being entangled in some youthful sexual sport fucking that
Right.
yeah, they were entangled in some immaturity. That's okay, dude. That God has forgiven our sins, and such things are passing. They're passing, and that it's okay not to be freaked out and not to have to. I was reassuring another individual who happened to maybe be immaturely entangled in something. Uh,
Sure.
than Hillbilly, or different than me, or different than somebody else. And Hillbilly just went, he got triggered. He got triggered to seeing me as not promoting the truth, but promoting damnable lies or
Right.
licentiousness, that I was, quote, leading people to hell.
Well,
And
I believe he calls you a heathen. Like every
yeah,
time I think,
yes, he
he calls
does. And, simply because I don't promote the holy law of God, which is condemning, I promote it as fulfilled rather than
right.
lay it on people, the condemnation of the law, which is totally obsolete. Fulfilled, I lay out grace, and that just pisses off and frightens some people very deeply because
Okay.
they love to spew the law and
Okay, Tommy, would you say that is some people in the Great Debate community or the majority of theists in the Great Debate community?
I see legalism as something that it's a mindset of legalism. It is a lens that one looks through. Looking through things in a legalistic or lawful way is something that many peeps, no matter what you call yourself, are growing out of. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yes, there it is. And so I myself may have, at a time of fatigue, may have slipped back into an immature perspective, or employed a way of looking at things that is juvenile and elementary and obsolete. And but I see people, deists, believers in Christ, and others, as growing out of such elementary way of looking at things, as such
Interesting.
childish.
Fundamentalist way, we'll say.
Well, yeah, there's a popular definition of fundies, and then there's a formal definition of fundamentalist. But yeah, I would say fundies are growing out of legalistic thinking, and other fundamentalists like Presbyterians or even five-star Calvinists. They're growing out of legalism. Uh,
Wow.
uh, many human beings are growing into a more gracious and truthful way to behold things, to see what is real, to see what is, and I mean nuts and bolts things. I don't mean supernatural angelic things. I mean
Oh.
regular things like other human beings. How do I see another human being? Do
Well,
I
that's
see?
lovely, Tommy. Well, Tommy, just, which theists here in our community do you see eye to eye with? People like the Holy Spackle, Deidre?
Oh, she is so often very gracious around me and encouraging to be around. I would say this, uh, uh, that every human being is unique in what they see and surmise about reality, even
All
what they
right.
surmise about religious things. And that nobody holds quite the same flavor of beliefs at the same time, and that many have vision that others don't. And so there's nobody that sees eye to eye with anybody else in some
Well,
way.
that makes sense, doesn't it, Saint? That, could you imagine if you walked in here and everybody saw
Yeah,
God the same way?
yes. And there are, I do, like I the belief about irresistible grace, that God is so gracious and loving that he's just irresistible. That's a tenet of Calvinism that I hold to be cogent, and that seems rational and so truthful. And other peeps on G Plus, they hold that view, irresistible grace. And so I see eye to eye about grace and the different aspects of grace with quite a few people. Quite a few
That's
people.
good. Okay,
Yeah.
Saint,
Mm-hmm.
these theists that call the other theists names like heathen,
Mm-hmm.
or homosexual.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why? What's that approach that they're coming from? I mean, could you just tell our listeners why that is just a vacuous approach to people, calling
Well,
them names, calling
yeah,
them antinomiasts, calling them
it is pretty
late
juvenile,
for dinner?
very common. It's often done compulsively for not really understanding why. People want to be good. And they do, so many people, they really want to be good. They want to champion what's good and they don't want to champion what's not good. And they sometimes feel like they've got to say and declare and endorse what's good. And sometimes they get triggered into name calling. Like they just gotta call somebody evil or call something evil or aberrant or
The
heretical.
reprobate. You have Rancam with the
Yes,
reprobate.
man, yes. And it seems like it's done out of fear, and it's also done out of ignorance, as if they are God, as if they have the authority to call somebody a fool. Oh, Christ Jesus said, if you call your brother a fool, blah, 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 blah. Name calling is a very heavy thing. And
Well,
it's
you know what's kind of interesting, Saint, is that, all right, think of the pinnacle. Well, now he's been dethroned. Who knows where he is? But G-Man, right? At the top of the pyramid.
yes, sir.
He got there by attacking atheists, right? And, I guess the majority of his audience was atheists just watching for the lulls, right? But he didn't really attack other Christians, did he?
Well, G-Man was a wondrous, and I assume he still walks the earth, of course, and he's just on sabbatical, but he was
Right.
a
Well,
wondrous showman, and he was very, very candid about his opinions, and also very loose with name calling, very loose with name calling in some ways, or very free with it, fearless. He would fearlessly call somebody else maybe a dumbass, or from the pit of hell, or and he did so sincerely and fearlessly.
did you like him,
Although
G-Man? The
I like,
G-Man show?
yes, I like Hillbilly Preacher. I like Veckel very much at times.
But I mean, like the show, not necessarily the person, but just watching the show.
I only saw one show of his with Keefe's, and it was sad.
Right. It was.
I hated to see Keefe's bulldogged and incited. They just laid, were very brutal to Keefe's. And I saw Keefe's exercise great patience and really try, to hold his emotions, manage his emotions. That's the only show I ever saw was that one. And it was kind of sad. It's kind of
Not the Christianity that you like, that attack.
Well, if you're going to attack, may one attack
Drama.
knowing why one is attacking. If you're going to refute somebody, might as well do it for gracious and good vision reasons. Be goal oriented. Why attack if it's just for the hell of it? For showmanship? For ratings?
Okay, well, that's interesting. Saint, do you ever see it from G-Man's perspective, like step in G-Man's shoes and say, well, this makes sense that G-Man's acting that way? Or in your mind, is that like, this guy is just P.T. Barnum or something?
Well, yes, he would, sometimes people attack out of defense. They attack because they feel accused. They feel guilty. If somebody calls somebody a name, like you're a
well, you're going to hell or something.
You're mean. You're
right.
mean, they say. They might feel disturbed that they really are mean. Or if they're called a heathen, they might feel disturbed that oh God, am I really a heathen? And so a lot of times people attack out of fear of being guilty of something. Or
interesting.
Yes, if they're called a name, they'll turn and attack. People who are afraid are dangerous people. It's just the way it is.
Wounded animals.
Yeah, exactly. And children that are frightened are dangerous also. Even us little children on G plus, our tongues are very powerfully dangerous.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, okay, just trying to look at it from G-Man's. Okay, let's just step in G-Man's shoes and bring up the other end of the argument. Okay, he goes into that hangout and he's hectored. I think G-Man was hectored in that, and then he finally lashes out at what he thinks is some weak Christians, right? And he admonishes them, and then the whole thing spills out into I believe that was the one where it was nigga versus nigger.
Oh,
You know, the whole thing went
ooh,
south.
ooh, yes, naughty, forbidden
But
words.
okay, well, I'm trying to say just from the thing of G-Man. Okay, one thing about Keefe's is Keefe's never shows his face. Could that have
Yeah.
worked against Keefe's? You know, trying to make some sort of dialogue with G-Man. I don't. What was the mission there that you saw?
Well, in Keefe's hangout, or in that,
The
in
Keefe's G-Man explosion in Bergoglio
what was
kerfuffle.
Keefe's goals? Well, from the outside looking in, it seems like Keefe's is a wondrous younger man who is
Younger man.
interested in his art of both social commentary and rapping. He has musical aspirations.
Yeah, a lot
He's
of things.
interested in having a good time with vigorous, rational interaction with others. Um, he seemed comfortable with being very candid and being very poignant and not being hyper delicate, all kind and sweetie pie. He's willing to talk, and he's willing to talk with some vigor. And
No, that's because saying because we've seen this kid over and over and over in other hangouts. But look at G-Man. I think this is the first interaction. Don't you think that they had?
it seemed that may be, yes.
And then, you know, when you can't see somebody's face, let's talk about not being able to see the person's visage on like trying to get a dialogue with him. I mean, does that affect not being able to ever see what the guy looks like?
Yes, it does. Any showing one's face is a
There we
privilege.
go.
It's a privilege. It's not something one is obligated to do.
Right.
It
No
is
obligation.
to show your face, and it is an opportunity when one shows one face to be seen and to be understood more thoroughly and loved. Even a face like mine. That's right. Uh, uh,
It's a good face.
thank you. I'm blushing. Um, anyway, there's reasons why people every time someone shows their face or does not show their face, or how they show their face, or if they have to show it in some ways, or if they show it from the side. Anytime someone shows their face, there's a reason for it. Sometimes it's done just kind of arbitrarily, but there's reasons why they allow themselves to do it arbitrarily, or there are reasons why they cover their face, especially, or why they would cover it sometimes or not cover it. Every icon that somebody employs, there's a reason for that icon. There's perhaps discernible reasons why they would choose the icon that they choose.
Right.
And
Okay, I'll give you that, Saint, but let me ask you this. Okay, if one wants to take it to the next level of like dialogue and, you know, verbal intercourse, don't you have to get a webcam?
it certainly is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to be understood or not understood. It is
Because
an
I know in my own case, people were like, you know, not really thinking who I was. Okay, we're suspicious of people when we don't see their face, right? I
absolutely.
claimed I was a Native American, and nobody believed me until the webcam. You know,
Yes, I've never seen Veckel's face.
I've never
I
seen Pickle's
I've
face.
always seen Hillbilly Preacher's face.
Right.
I've never seen Benny's face.
No,
Uh,
but
um,
haven't you heard Benny's voice? So I mean,
ex-
there's always suspicion there.
yes, um, uh, some peeps who do not show their face do so for specific reasons because they do not want to be seen, and they have their reasons. They
Yeah,
have
they don't want it to interfere with
well,
their life, I guess.
some people, anonymity, to be anonymous is very valuable. To be partially anonymous is very valuable. If you knew every skid mark of another person, or every social security number, or everything about another person. You know, it's good to guard one's privacy, and it is good to think through what one wants to be seen and how one does not, because it is.
Patrick comes to mind, right? That one. But let me ask you: shouldn't we be suspicious of people that, I mean, won't even show us a still picture of what we're dealing with?
There is no moral requirement from God to be suspicious.
Right.
Let me
It's a
answer
very
your real question.
legalistic way. But I was just thinking
Hold on,
in the
hold on.
general.
Let me answer your real question.
Okay.
Your real question perhaps was, would it be good for us to be suspicious at times to people who do not use a webcam? And I would say yes, that people use webcams or do not use them for specific reasons, and some people do things intentionally, and they hide. They
Right.
hide, yes, and the things they do may be very immature or very reckless or sinister or very extremely savagely predatory. Yeah, people hide for a reason, and
Okay.
anonymity is both very valuable and wise in some ways, and also can be very cunningly just a cover, a cloak to do your.
Right. I'll give you an example. Saying, let's say somebody like that Johnny KZJ, who
Yeah.
constantly blasts atheists, and like if we could his face, see what we're dealing with.
Yes. Well, he also has he's very disturbed about some uh, religious precepts known as Islam. Also,
Yeah.
Johnny, yes, and he seems like a good man to me. Not that I have any
Oh,
authority
he does.
to rate him. It's just an opinion, Anyway, uh,
Does atheist hate ever bother you? Somebody who just hates
hell
atheists?
yes, it is so sad to see one of them, those atheists, those evildoers, those godless men, those demon possessed men. Oh yes, blasting atheist is a pathetic habit to get into, but it can feel so right. It can
And
feel
also, I
so
think
holy.
you can
Ooh,
get
holy.
views that way.
Beg your pardon?
You can get views. I mean, it's
Oh
never
yeah.
hurt your view count for
Well,
blasting.
yeah, I could see if some people or some peeps seem to be in the habit of name calling atheists
Nephilim free.
for fame, for fame. Yeah, Neff seems to have developed into more busting on atheist uh, presumptions or presuppositions.
Ideas, not
But a
necessarily.
little bit, yeah. But he does use it in a generic way frequently. It seems like those atheists, blah 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 blah, some phantom group, or that he's. But I don't usually see him call somebody an atheist and then deride them to their face, calling them evil or condemning them as
I
if he
see.
had authority or vision to do so. Yeah, but
Others will.
so, oh hell yeah, busting on atheist is so popular amongst some theists because in some ways it feels so holy and so upright, and in other ways there's got to be some of them, or there ain't none of us. And if I ain't busting on them, I might be one of them.
Right. Okay. Well,
Oh my God, I got to call them. It's
now
kind of primitive.
it's curious just to know. Oh, sorry to interrupt,
I'm
Tom.
sorry.
It's
Go ahead.
like, when you talk to these guys, are you blocked? I mean, do they block you from talking to them?
Yeah, I get blocked. I'm currently blocked by All for His Glory. Whole. I'm not really sure why. I think he's punishing me, and that's one reason that I get blocked is because of fear. Most peeps block me because of fear and to punish me in a petty way. It's like, in a little sadistically petty way. Um,
Okay.
I,
Well, just to tell our audience, what do you think? What's the blocking function? I mean, how is that envisioned, and how should that be used in your mind? I mean, do you block a lot of people or not?
No, I'm happy to say that I've only blocked one or two in my day, only one that I can recall. But and I'm glad that I can't boast that I've never blocked anybody. But because I have, I have. But and I wondered why also. But
I think blocking was for harassment. Like, let's say you're a woman and somebody keeps sending you explicit pictures, then you could block them. That was the envisionment of blocking, that anybody who was harassing you, you could block them. But wouldn't you say that the blocking function, there's like a blocking craze that it's abused here in the community? Just curious. Wow. Tommy took a quick break. Well, I'd like to, thank all our I'm sure Tommy will come back, but I'd just like to thank all our listeners for still listening. Tommy, you're back.
oh, my apologies, sir. It was a technical error having to do with
Oh,
my finger. It was having to do with my finger. I meant to hit the mute button. My apologies. Block it. Block it.
okay, well, let me get back on track. What I was going to say is, like, I was going to say the blocking function and the blocking craze. Did you hear that part where I said, like, I think it was envisioned, first as an anti-harassment tool?
Yeah.
Like the woman who's getting explicit and, she has the ability to block. But I think it's abused in this community in that, it's used to quash the voice, any contrary voices that you want to hear.
Yes.
And then what happens is that when you have these hangouts, because you'd have your own, that people can't get in because they're blocked.
Yes. And it leads to embarrassment. It leads to
negotiation, to people outrage.
Yes, and it is blocking seems to be used often punitively. One person won't like another person, or somebody will get on somebody's nerves or insult somebody, and they will block them out of indignant, petty, punitive sentiment. I mean, it's like, it's very, very petty. It's often used to punish somebody, gonna show them.
It's very ad hoc in the way that, at that moment, that they're angry at them, they block them. But what happens, just to tell our listeners, is that once you block somebody in a hangout, you can't hear what the other person's saying. And then often the conversations, climb on top of each other.
I have
You ever had that experience? Any hangout with Brett?
It can be distracting to the flow of the hangout when one participant says, look, somebody's blocked so-and-so. Could somebody please unblock so-and-so so-and-so could come in? And then somebody gets embarrassed. I mean, I have petitioned to be unblocked outside of hangouts. And then the person who blocked me was embarrassed and they went ahead and unblocked me, or they didn't, or they left. And it can be very embarrassing and just a nuisance. It seems like the blocking system is good. It has good effect. People are a little bit tighter with their words. They don't accuse quite as easily if they feel like they're going to get blocked.
Really?
And, yeah.
I just see it as like a retaliatory, like somebody reprisals, retaliatory. But what's interesting is, like, if you're running the hangout and you block somebody, they get kicked out, right? But if you're like a member and then you block somebody, then you have these conversations that interfere with each other because they can't hear each other.
And it interferes with other people participating in the room that you're in. Yep. Its effect is it prevents other people's, it punishes them in that way. It prevents other people from participating anywhere where you're at. And that's a very powerful thing to do. It's a very harsh way to punish somebody. You belittle them by blocking them. When they try and come into a room that you're in and you're blocked, that sinking feeling you get where it says one of the participants has blocked you. It'd make a man cry a little bit,
Yeah,
it's hard, man,
Sometimes I chalk it up to karma. It's like, well, it's not meant for me to be in there.
That seems good mental hygiene to do that.
Now, okay, well, that's interesting that you bring that up, saying, okay, like, do you have some people that have blocked you that you wish haven't blocked? Like, are you just chalking it up to, like, hey, they need to get over it. It's not my fault for the things I say,
Some people blocked me for good reason. What was the inquiry again? What was the question?
Well, I mean, like, in my case, Nadia has blocked me, but it's like I have no, wherewithal or just urge to even go back into a Nadia hangout. See what I mean? The only thing is like, if, for example, like you say, she's there first in a hangout that I want to participate in, I guess I can't get in.
Yeah, I would. In my case, I've experienced mixed feelings. Like, for instance, if I'm blocked by somebody, part of me is cool with it, whatever, and part of me, has no desire to interact with them, and part of me wishes I
Right.
wasn't blocked, that I wasn't, and mixed feelings. I prefer not to be blocked by anybody, and even though at the same time, I also simultaneously don't really care,
Right.
you know.
And then, well, one thing saying is that once you've been blocked, then there's like you can't talk to the person because there's no way of communicating to them,
It
right?
is hard. Yeah, I have successfully asked somebody else to petition
You
for
have to do that. And it's like,
leniency. Yes, will you please ask so and so if they would mercifully unblock me? That I would be grateful if, and it helps if I really mean it.
I guess
I
that could be a
mean it.
capacity in the community to be a negotiator, right?
Yeah,
Bunto
yeah,
Skiffler, negotiator.
exactly. And people will do it. They'll say, sure, if they sense you really mean it, that you really are asking somebody to have a little mercy and please unblock me, they'll do it for you. They'll say, hey, look, will you have mercy on asshole over there, or
Oh my God. Anyway,
dingbat, or that fella, that unique fella over there, we have mercy on him and unblock. He asked me to ask you if you would have mercy and unblock. And usually people say, okay.
okay. Well, let's think about the mechanics of this for a sec. Let's suppose that the blocking function was disabled for a day. I mean, would people's lives crush in here? Would Patrick Festa's life, explode, head explode, if the blocking function was turned off for like a period of time?
I don't think
Disabled.
so. Pat is more mature and more agile of an emotion manager than ever. He will block somebody, it seems like, and unblock somebody. It doesn't bother him one way or the other. I don't think Patrick's head would explode. I think that maybe some would really miss it because
Eat real Jennifer Borden's.
they really like that tool of punishing somebody in a
That's right.
aggressive
They
way.
want to punish Bunto, so
Yep.
Bunto block.
Punish him.
And if we take away their punishing, I mean, what happens?
Then what the heck? They may, have feelings of contempt, or feelings of they might feel butthurt with no way to express it.
But also, one thing saying that we could start talking again. It's like, okay, so you block me. Now there's no blocking. What's your beef, right? Tell me exactly what your beef is. See, that's one thing. The blocking,
Yes,
there's no negotiation.
Yep, that's oftentimes why I've been blocked, is simply to stop my mouth from
Right.
suggesting things. Now, one thing I had suggested is that sexual desire can't be injected by demons, and thought can't be injected. I know, a silly thing like that.
And that got you blocked.
Oh, you damn right it did, because some really like the very common belief it's taught that demons can inject thoughts in your brain and your mind and make you think things and feel things and like things and want to do things.
Wow.
And to suggest, I know it seems sad on the outside, but it is very common and it's very unbiblical. And but there's great tradition surrounding it. Dante.
Well, okay. Well, I'll give the theology, but just talking about the mechanics. Let me bounce this off you. Let's suppose that Google plus G plus does a new feature that you could have a hangout where the blocking thing is turned off.
Yes, that would be great. What a great
What do you think of
idea.
that?
This hangout is block free. In other words,
Block
if you
free.
come in here, you are open to participate with whomever. So enter at your own risk. That seems most would that neuter the effectiveness of that punishment tool? It might. I mean, who would care if you got blocked? Who would care? Maybe this, if I blocked somebody and they came into a hangout, I just couldn't hear them and they couldn't hear me. That would seem like a fair.
You think so? Then you got the
downgrade. That way, it would maintain the blockingness of it, but it would also make one more accountable. If you block somebody, you're going to look like a little petty child for blocking them because you can't hear them and they can't hear you. And that would seem to me to be at least a refinement of the blocking
Okay.
tool.
Well, okay, you have a lot of hangouts, daily. Have you thought of ways to improve the hangout mechanically? Like
Mechanically.
maybe a quiet, like a warm up room or something, like a green room,
No,
like a sub room, sub
have,
hangout.
I can't say that I have, because most of my hangouts that I've hosted have been very consistent, as in they are either totally off air or mostly off air. And,
Right.
and so I haven't really structured. I've experimented with a couple of different structures of Hangout. One is I will kind of guide people on who gets to talk now, who gets to talk now, who gets to, you're next, you're next, you're next.
Hmm.
Or I might chide somebody for over talking, and then or try and keep the peace about over talking. Over talking is a very common phenomena on G Plus, and you just kind of have to, if you want to get heard. Sometimes you got to over talk. It's
Well,
normal in
courtesy, yeah.
conversation. Yes, it's normal in conversations, even group
Protocol.
conversations. Yep. But over talking in this technical arena is kind of not like over talking in real life. Over talking in this place, G Plus Hangouts, tends to mute other people in a technical way that it does, and it's over talking can be very, very crudely done. Some
Right.
are expert at over talkers. Veckel, for instance, can overtalk me so easily it just sends my blood pressure up.
Yeah, I would. I mean,
I do not feel heard sometimes in interacting with my brother. But
okay. Well, that's an interesting thing for the mechanics that with the flow of the conversation. But how about this one? It's an interesting thing that came to mind is that the ability to detect when a hangout is being recorded.
yeah, uh, I spent some time in our good neighbor's Shadow Heathens room one time with our good neighbor Kiz, and
Okay.
as an act of empathy and brotherhood, I removed my shirt, as is Kiz's custom, you know,
Right.
even though my man boobs aren't in any way as glorious
As
as his. Yes, but I
notorious.
felt good about it. I felt good about participating. I didn't show any full Monty or show my Johnson or anything like that. I simply just took my shirt off, and the other participants in the room also took their shirt off, and it was a nice community. It was like everybody was at the beach, and
Solidarity.
everybody, yes, and it seemed edifying to everybody. But I did not realize that it was live.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
yes, yes. And I learned, to be careful about what is live and what's not, because I did feel a little embarrassed about taking my shirt off in public, because
That's true.
this
Maybe they
ain't the
have.
this is a G plus hangout, and social norms of G plus hangout. I mean, you might wear a sleeveless shirt, but if you show up in underwear or a speedo or something like that, or even a bikini,
You're giving
or
me ideas.
yeah, people just, oh, it's almost like, where's your burqa? Where's your burqa? Oh my God.
But I
You
was
know,
I was thinking more like this case, Benny recording the hangouts.
yes.
I mean, I'm sure the technicians will tell us that there's no way that you can avoid that, right? That they have a
Yeah,
detector here and a G plus telling us if something's being recorded.
it is his right and his power to
I
do
didn't
it.
know that. It's
Oh,
his right to do
yes.
that,
Yes. Now,
to record private hangouts.
it depends on which municipality you're in and how it might be considered illegal or unlawful or prohibited. So it might be illegal in Pakistan, but it might not be unlawful in California.
Okay,
And
so
yeah, it's
when
a
it happened to you,
international law, that kind of thing.
when it happened to you, he told you this, or you?
No. I became friends with Benny. He's a good man, I presume, and he was welcome in my private hangouts where they were not public, and he did record several of the hangouts where private things were shared in confidence,
And
and
then he throws them up on his YouTube channel,
well,
right?
published them on some channel that I didn't know about, and I got I got the heads up. Hey, several of your private hangouts are posted public, and God, I couldn't believe it. And I couldn't believe how many dozens upon dozens of hangouts on air and off air, mostly off air, were published. And I even stumbled on one across where I was discussed in a private hangout. I mean, yes, for 10 minutes, the subject was St. Tommy. Ooh, I ate that one up, let me tell you. But in any case, yeah, I considered it, I did not like it.
A
And
violation of your
yeah,
privacy,
trust, you know, I
trust.
trust if you record it, I mean, as is your right to record it, I trust you not to publish it, because certain things that are said in private can be hurtful if they're made public. And it is
Right.
reckless. I know it's a no-brainer. It is reckless, man. Those people who said things about me, uh, candid things, uh, oh man, it was hurtful for me to hear them.
I
And
can understand that.
oh yeah, man, and they would have never said them if they'd have
Now,
thought.
imagine just, talking to the technicality. If you had some light that would come out in the corner and say detecting, like maybe recording detected. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like we have the speed detector on a car. We
yes.
have a recording detector in the hangout. Hey, recording detector went off.
It would be nice, but it is a tall technical hope because of the screen recording,
Right.
dual hard drive, another browser running simultaneously. It it's a it's it might for me it is. I might as well assume that everything could be recorded and possibly
Okay.
published,
So I guess
unfortunately, and
that's what we're gonna have to do.
I do hope that those that I participate with have the maturity and self-control or self-restraint to not record and publish, that they don't get triggered into some compulsion to publish such things. And all I can do
Right.
is hope that who I interact with has vision of how delicate things are that people say, and that
All we
people
can do is,
oh,
know that it's a possibility. Now, this could all be for naught, Saint, because I've heard the news from sources, including the news itself, that Google Plus is on the way out. Have you heard anything like that? That there might be a demise of Google Plus?
I have heard the ever so vague rumblings of some changes that are afoot about Google Hangouts. And I
Okay.
find that disturbing. This is such a rich phenomena.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
Oh man, it is the cream of the crop of contemplators in some way. It's almost like a small seaport town where you have your regulars, and then God only knows who will drift in. Yes. But
Okay, like if this thing went bye-bye next week, you'd be
oh,
crushed?
yeah, my life would change significantly. It might be very
Yes.
good for me personally, but it would definitely I would definitely miss it, and I definitely value G Plus as one of the best things since sliced bread. It
Okay, compared to Facebook, no
face
comparison in
it's
your
like
mind?
a wagon compared to a Mustang GT.
MSTD. All right. Uh,
Yes.
okay, like if I was on Facebook, I'd get kicked off in a month. But here, there's pretty liberal.
Mm.
There's a lot more organic here. I'd say here in G Plus.
Well, let me tell you, it does afford being candid. People discover who they are here. They create who they really are here. They manifest who
Right.
they want to be here. They work out pain here. They heal here. They encourage each other. They reason together. They adopt other mental habits. It's like I'll be copying Pat Festa before you know it. Some of his yummy ways of looking at things, or maybe anybody.
And they learn from Patrick Festus.
We
All right,
learn from each other. Yes, it's a great place, man. This very powerful, very powerful.
Tommy, why do you think G Plus took a nosedive? I mean, what did they get wrong about it?
Well, how can they be making money off this for the amount of server space that it takes to host? I mean,
Okay.
you get a hangout full of 10 people with maybe 100 people watching. That's a total of 110 people. being served, and it's a great volume of computer infrastructure and server capability dedicated to a very small amount of people. And in other words, it's not cost effective. It is a loss leader. This whole Hangout thing is just plain and not a money maker. Now, a YouTube video, you got your advertisements in your side, and that's
Right.
money. And low data management cost for that compared to revenue for the advertisement. But Hangouts, man, it is a dead loss relatively. 110 people participating and a hell of a lot of data management and hosting for one Hangout. So I see it by default as being very expensive for Google, and expensive things like that may not be, hosted. I think maybe they did it as a social, I don't know, a loss leader part of Google. We'll do this because it can be done and it's really cool for us to do it, but it's not a moneymaker part of Google, maybe.
Right. I was like thinking, well, G Plus is supposed to be also postings too, but I guess the way you look at it through Hangouts. That's the real meat. Where the beef is in the hamburgers, the Hangouts.
Well, for me personally, yeah, G Plus, which I guess is a type of Facebook, if you will, with the circle system and all. I see that as being reasonably income producing or revenue producing. They get to advertise with G Plus. I guess I see pop-ups on G Plus, or I don't have to think that through. I haven't analyzed it as far as how Google makes money off of G Plus, but for me, the Hangouts is what I fear, or that I would hate to go.
Hate to go, yeah. So we need to keep the Hangouts going.
Interacting with other individuals is in this manner is more powerful than any coffee house or any social interface medium I've ever stumbled across.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wonderful. Yeah. Now, Tom, you had thank you for doing this interview, Tom. It's really wonderful. Is it okay if I invite some participants in? We take a quick break?
Oh, sure. Out some invites? I really like that. Very good. Yes. I hope I don't pee in the corner or offend too many people. And thank you. Yes.
Okay, I'll open the room up. Just hold on a second.
God bless you, Veckel. God bless you, my brother. Well, while Bunto is gone, I'll take this opportunity to proclaim the good news that the Lord Jesus Christ was crucified, buried, and rose from the dead on the third day for the forgiveness of sin. Our sin is forgiven. It is finished. He did it. Thank you. Hello? Hello.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
Woo! Yep. That's what I say.
Well, what up?
Oh my gosh, it's very loud, sir.
What's that?
Your microphone's
It was
working.
very loud. It hurt my ears.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
How you doing,
I
bud?
missed. I missed the interview. I'm sorry. I missed it.
Oh, it was one of the best I've ever
Well,
drank.
we do it again.
It was good, dude. It was really good. It was.
Are you high?
Nice flow. There wasn't any like dead space. It was always perky and interesting. It wasn't like there was any downtime really. You know what I mean?
Pharmaceutical grade cocaine, man.
What about it?
Big
Someone
pharma.
invoke my spirit?
Yes. Glad to see you, Simon, sir. Good to see
Glad
you.
to be- glad to
Beloved
be
Simon.
here. Thank you, Brother John. Always appreciate it.
So how y'all doing this week?
Doing good.
How'd your night owl go last night, dude? I was like through night owl, and then like 10 minutes later I said go to sleep, and then you had one.
Mm-hmm. It went well. It was cool. Hung out for about an
Talk
hour and a
about
half
Greece?
live, and then we went off air for a little bit. It's all right.
Talk about Greece.
No.
Oh, too bad.
There was there was an article in the Telegraph talking about the signals of possible collapse for next month. You know,
Wow,
China's stock.
It keeps you up at night, right?
I've actually
No.
managed to sort out that grease problem.
How so?
I'll have to go on camera to do it. Hang on a minute.
Okay.
Drum roll, please. Okay, you worry about the global financial markets on the whole, right?
I don't worry because I'm prepared. But I'm
Oh, you're
worried
prepared.
I'm
What kind
worried
of
for
machine gun you got?
guns. You gotta have guns, gold, and groceries.
Toothpicks, waterproof matches. Okay, you asked William Freeman for a gun, and he sent you a gun, so you're prepared for the financial collapse.
Here we go.
Okay, so are you ready for it? I've got it all sorted now. Okay, so
here we
what
go.
we do
Please.
is we just issue new notes. Okay, so this is the German euro. Don't know if you can see that there.
I'll take it. Yes.
It's like a folder.
10 euros there. You see that? Yeah.
What? That's fucking huge.
And there's the Greek 10 euro. Yeah, can you see that? Greek 10 euro there?
Uh-huh.
Well, there you go, you see. Both 10 euro, but clearly the German one, much more valuable. Look at the size of it.
Oh
Hey,
my
Tommy
God.
Greek
Paul.
one,
See it.
they'll be happy with that.
Tommy.
Still 10 euro. Fuck it. German,
How do
10
you-
euro.
How do you put that shit in your pocket? I mean,
Get
The
real big
Germans can
cans.
afford it. I'm telling you now, the Germans can afford very big pockets.
so we just
So
make
anyway,
the euros
that's
bigger.
That's my solution. Make the
All right.
German notes.
Okay, how are you prepared against a financial collapse, Rojo? I mean,
I've dug
there's
a
no
shelter
such thing.
in the garden.
Well, if anything happens like it does in Greece, where you cannot get access to your money, I would strongly suggest that you have the ability to have access to your money outside of a bank.
Just know where the Walmart is. You know?
I mean, it's a joke what they're offering at the banks. Like they make a big deal out of it. Hey, keep your money in here just for 5 years, and we'll give you 2% interest. Wow, thanks very much.
Well, okay, so now you're averse to using the banking system?
You can't even keep up with inflation in the bank with your money in the bank.
Is everybody else like that, against the
Pretty
banking
much.
system?
Pretty much. Well, it's what they're offering,
Right.
isn't it?
You get like
You
put
know,
all the money in the mattress or what?
Well, they
you
make
can't
money.
get. Well, you'd rather invest it in commodities at the moment, I think, probably. That's where the safe money goes when there's recession.
You got
Mhm.
tranny hose, you got porn,
That'll do it.
pharmaceutical grade cocaine. Hey,
Drugs
Jackie,
are always
how
a
you
good.
doing?
good.
Long time no see.
Hey,
Hi,
Jackie.
Jack.
All right.
Okay, you got one chance to mute me.
Hi.
One chance
How's it
and one
going?
chance only. Free mute.
Anyway, I believe that
Wow.
one should use things like the banking system, currency, so forth. What do y'all think?
Anybody else?
Oh, we got a muting
Some
wall
muting.
going on.
I
Anybody
know
else
now
want
it's
to
the
mute?
muting
I mean,
craze.
we've always wanted to do that. Free
What was
mute.
What was that inquiry, Buntos?
The inquiry was like, okay, the banking system, yes or no?
It seems pretty. What do they call? What's that word that they use?
Elementary?
Fascist or something? Or seems like the banks ain't hurting, and I don't mind fucking them. Yeah, or I don't mind if I don't. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, not good. Need some
All
work.
right.
Need some work.
Well, okay, Tommy, are you? I mean, Tommy Hall. Tommy Hall, are you there?
I'm here.
Hey, Tommy.
Hey, how are
Okay,
you?
have you seceded from the banking system yet, or are you still
No,
put your money in the bank?
no, but I wouldn't count on. I mean, I don't count on the bank to make me any money as far as savings and interest.
Right.
It's just a place to hold your money. It's not. Yeah, I wouldn't count on it to make any money.
I tell you, if it come the shit hits the fan, and it's no place to hold your money either. In Greece,
Well,
they just limit you to the amount of money you can get out per day.
That's
Like,
messed
if you've
up. I
got
didn't
like
know that.
if you got like 200 grand in there, they'll let you get 200 quid out a day. Something like
I would never put my money all in one place. Maybe keep some in a bank, some in a safe. You know.
Keyword money. I'll put the money in the bank. Just give me the money.
I usually
Well,
keep mine with my local drug dealer.
the thing is that, all right, everybody looks at a
Uh-huh.
little
The
punk country
pharmacy.
like Greece, and there's shake and shit on the floor. I mean, Greece is a punk country. That's what happens to punks. It's not going to happen here in the United States of America unless we get some Republican punk in office like Rand Paul.
Hey, now.
Oh boy.
Because I don't think it's possible, because you will put the mortgage rates up. Whereas
The
in
mortgage
Europe,
rate.
they're
I mean,
not putting
everybody
the
rents
mortgage
here.
rate.
I mean, do they
Then,
build anymore here in the United States? I mean, they build apartments.
Wait a
yeah,
second.
but they're
Is
not.
Greece overrun with Republicans?
I don't
Greece
think.
is
I don't think.
No,
overrun by Grecians. I believe
the
that's
point.
what Bush
The
said.
point is the European banks are holding the mortgage rate interest down.
Wow. I don't think the Republicans could stop the reptilian Illuminati. The reptilians running.
New World Order.
Yeah. I mean, the Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians. Ain't nobody going to stop the reptilians. Hell no. Maybe. I don't know.
I keep saying this in the side chat, but just to say it here, we shouldn't have bailed out the larger banks. We really shouldn't have. In a true capitalist economy, corporations should have room to fail, and if they need to be bailed out, then they need to fail. That's
Now,
just simple as that.
that's true, Jackie, and in the functional way of an economy, of the free market. But the reason we bailed out those people, those mortgage banks, is because if we wouldn't have, the economy would have collapsed. There would have been a crisis of confidence. People. Okay, what happened in 2008 is people actually realized how much power just 5 banks had in the United States. And like 2 went under, right, and 3 were left. But we saw like how that's not a good idea to concentrate so much financial power in just 5, investment banks. And
It's
so
fine,
we had
dude.
to
It's fine.
bail out
It
those
doesn't
guys.
matter the amount. It doesn't matter. It needs to be nationalized. I mean, we can have one bank. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the amount. It's just the fact that
I won't disagree with you.
it's in private people's control. The issuing of money.
I will not
It's not-
disagree with you on that point. But the thing to me is like, when you say nationalization of the bank and just one bank, right there they get the idea of communism, right?
No, it's the idea of creating your own currency based on credit from the citizens set up through the citizens.
Mm-hmm.
We already got that.
No, we don't.
Well, I mean, our currency's working as it is. I don't see why we have to reinvent
No,
the
it's
wheel.
not. That's the whole problem. That's why we're talking about it, dude.
Right. The Treasury Department's supposed to be issuing the currency.
It's half
The
Don't
working.
problem
working
is
for
not our
Not
currency.
private
The
banks.
problem is the leadership.
It's
The
half.
problem is that we have a lot of rip-offs.
It's half working on Thursdays mostly, and also thanks George W. Obama. Thanks a lot, and also
George W. Obama.
yeah, and Bunto Stifler for president.
Oh my God, that would
Bunto
be
for president.
if Bunto ruled the world. Okay, are you guys political at all at this point, or are you just gonna let it get right by you? I mean, you
I
care about
retired from
I blame Nixon, man, partially.
Nixon, right? The Watergate.
Well,
How about you, Jack? Are you really
he took
political
us
now,
off
or
the
what?
gold standard to pay for a war. So
I'm very hesitant to blame any particular president. I think there are certain administrations and governments that we've had in the past century that haven't worked so well for our country. Especially, we had a bunch of financial department issues in the past 20 years where, what's his name? Alan
Greenspan.
what he
Greenspan.
did just ruined a lot of things.
what a name.
And yeah, and so I'm very hesitant to be like, oh, it was Nixon, oh, it was the Bushes, and it takes the president does not have as much power as people claim the presidency does.
So who is in charge?
Well, we could go back to Woodrow
responsibility.
Wilson. Woodrow Wilson, who signed the Federal Reserve Bank Act, and which regretted it very deeply afterwards.
Reagan.
Reagan, yeah, the Reagan administration.
That's the one for me.
Wilson, 1913.
Okay, listen, guys, you're going back to obscure times. I mean, the problem is today. Who's running it today? I mean, you guys tell me that Obama really doesn't have much power. Who's running it?
Well, I mean, we do have three branches of government. We can't just put the blame all on the executive branch.
We just need a leader, man.
Not,
A Führer leading America. Like me.
what we have is a Congress that doesn't cooperate. I actually put more blame on Congress because how many times have we seen them go into overtime with some of these bills and not be able to agree, and there's a whole Democrats versus Republicans, and the how do I say it? Not the culture, not the environment, but the mindset of
You
politicians.
want like a commander giving out orders, right?
No, I want. Basically, what I want is politicians not being bought by corporations, and for people, I don't know how we would do it, but for people to not think in terms of Republican versus Democrat, but what are the issues? Let's put our other differences aside and talk
What do you
about
think of
it.
Donald
I don't
Trump?
know. I think I kind of have mixed opinions about Donald Trump. He kind of represents to me what politics shouldn't be, or owned by big corporations. He says a lot of stupid things. But I mean, if I wouldn't mind having someone who is somewhat of a businessman helping out in the government.
You want a
Not
crony?
not Donald Trump.
Not
Not
Donald
him.
Trump.
No. But someone who is more educated in terms of economics and business.
We had a real smart president, Obama, don't you think?
I don't know. I think Obama has accomplished a lot. Yeah. But I'm not sure if he's exactly
For who?
done everything he can to help
He
the
got
economy.
Expanded Medicaid,
But
Obamacare.
I wouldn't entirely blame it on Obama, I think he had a difficult time with the Congress that didn't really agree with him. You know, Congress is mostly
Okay,
Republican and he's a Democrat, so
which
he's
do you think did
gonna
more
have
to
a hard
improve
time getting
America,
politics
Bush
through.
or Obama?
Are you asking me or
Sure, I'll ask the whole
everyone here?
participants. Who did more to improve America, Bush or Obama?
I'd say Obama, but I know other people would disagree.
I don't know. George Bush was in longer, so the case ain't in yet. You know.
Yeah,
The case
exactly.
ain't in yet. Impossible to tell. Yeah.
Bush gave us the
Obama
Patriot
still
Act.
has another year.
Did
You
did
know.
Bush get a Nobel Peace Prize at all?
Well, in a way, Bush sort of, it was like any guy after Bush is going to get the Nobel Peace Prize. But okay, so
guys as salesmen, I see them trying to sell me whatever the government wants, and not necessarily in my own interest. As far as when I look at them as presidents, like how well can they keep up the image? How well can they appear respectable and perform the jobs of a politician? I would say Obama's pretty damn good, dude. I mean, he just took the entire country for a huge financial disaster for 4 years, brainwashed half the population. It was great, dude. Great politics. That's his job.
Yeah, I have to agree. Going back, I forgot to mention one of the reasons why I don't consider Donald Trump, to be a good potential president is because he doesn't relate to most of America.
he relates to a lot of
I
Americans,
can't.
though.
No.
A lot of Americans don't like minorities, and a lot of Americans, hate women, right?
You've noticed he's white, yeah?
Right.
He's wicked white.
Okay, I hadn't noticed before.
A lot of Americans have a comb
Yeah,
over hair.
yeah, but a lot of Americans aren't billionaires who fly around in private jets and
That's true.
own multiple towers with their name stamped across it.
He's going to suffer the Mitt Romney thing. I mean, did anybody really like Mitt Romney besides Brojo?
I did not. I certainly did not like Mitt Romney.
You didn't like Mitt Romney? Oh my
No.
God, that's heartbreaking to him. How come you didn't like him?
Out somebody. Man, to out somebody as being a Mitt Romney fan. Bunto, please be kind.
God.
Okay, what was wrong with Mitt Romney, Brojo? I'll give you, just lay it on the line.
I don't know. Listen, Bunto. The problem we're having here is, yeah, it seems like most of America is looking to a president to be their savior, and it's not going to happen. Both parties just plain suck. Okay, and looking for change from the top down is not going to happen, and that's what most people are looking for. It's not going to happen. The change is going to come from the bottom up in your local communities. Yes, get involved in your local community, in your local politics.
They've been telling us
voice,
that for 60 years.
It's the only way really to go is to start from the bottom up.
No one pays attention to local elections, and that's what's really the most important. It's basically whoever has the most money who wins in local elections, and people can just buy offices.
All I know is when I'm driving down to the voting office, I better not get pulled over by a cop because I'm going to get blown away. I mean, that's the way the system's rigged.
I just heard a revolution being declared in the corner there. Mm-hmm. That's people get out there and do your politics.
They want us to go bottom up, but that's how come they have the police force to keep us down, right, Brojo? Chirp. Anyway, I believe, it's just the way it is in America nowadays.
Some people are just too smart, man.
The reason why so many can liking Trump is, Trump is, he's very forthright. He's expressing a lot of the frustrations that people have, and this is what is his appeal. But once he gets into office, you think how much drastic change you think he's going to be able to make? He's one man. You got to deal with Congress. You know, a lot of the power is in Congress.
That's
These are the
exactly
people
what
that
I
are
was
voted in the
saying.
states. This is voted in the local level.
That's exactly the point I was trying to make earlier, was that there's a lot of the power is in Congress, and our Congress tends to not be cooperative
I'm
with
not
each other.
afraid of the Congress, though. I'm afraid of the cop, man. I mean, I guess you guys haven't been paying attention to current events. It's not like, uh, who's in Congress? I forgot all the congressmen. I don't even know who. I mean, that guy, Gohmert, he's not like, gunning down people. It's the cops.
Burt McGregor.
I don't know, Bart Buttfuck. I mean, who knows? Do you know your congressman? You're
Bart
complaining about congressmen, but you don't know them. Anyone?
I don't know, but sorry.
Well, you're a Brit somewhere in there in the UK. Here in America, we're having trouble with, law enforcement. So I don't, first let's cure law enforcement before you even worry about president.
Who's your selectman? Do you know your selectman?
We don't have those here. We have mayor.
You just have a mayor?
Yeah, that's all we can afford.
I hear you, bro. You know your mayor's name?
Yeah, Hillary Clinton.
Hillary.
Now, you guys are really into politics, right? I
Why?
mean, when Hillary comes in, all this shit's going to change, right? We're going to have peaceful police force?
Nope.
Anyone? Thanks for coming to
Yeah.
the show, Victor.
Well, guns or something, maybe. That sort of
Sorry,
thing.
I went away from the keyboard. What was the question?
I was going to ask you, when Hillary Clinton comes in office, the police are going to start behaving themselves?
No.
Are you saying that Hillary's gonna be president?
Yeah,
I,
Less.
Yeah, it's
I
hers
don't
to
think
lose.
so. I don't know. I don't think Clinton's gonna get. I don't even think she's gonna get the nomination.
And like, who do you think is going to get the nomination, honey?
I think Sanders. I think Sanders has it. I mean, even okay. I'm gonna be honest here. I'm a Sanders supporter, but even if I wasn't, I think a lot of the polls and rallies kind of, and Hillary's support has been dropping quite
You know who has a better
significantly over
chance of
the
getting the
past month.
nomination than Bernie Sanders, Jackie?
Hmm?
Somebody named Vladimir Ilyich Lenin has a better chance at the Democratic nomination
Well,
than Bernie Sanders.
I don't know. I'm not saying that Sanders would win the presidential election. I just think that he has a big chance of getting at least a Democratic nomination.
Okay, the reason that people
I-
get elected in America is because they buy the election. That's pretty much,
Well, he's got a
Yeah,
good
but
military
Sanders has
record,
been getting thousands of donations from, regular people. He raised 15 million just from smaller donations.
Well, let me ask you this, Jackie. What has Bernie Sanders ever done?
Well, he's been in Congress for, 12 or 15 years? A long, long time. He
What has he done?
voted against the Iraq War. He's been supporting gay marriage since the 80s. He's been supporting civil rights since the 60s. He's not owned by big corporations. He's not owned by big businesses. He hasn't made any negative campaigns, negative ads or anything. He has a lot of credibility.
Surprised to
He's
say he hasn't done much.
successful. He's very successful in Congress.
Yeah, chicken burgers. Fantastic.
Colonel Sanders.
Yeah, brilliant.
Okay, you're willing to vote for somebody who hasn't done anything, right?
Very,
Jackie?
very distinguished military record as well, obviously.
No, but Sanders has done stuff. So.
Okay, Jackie, has Bernie Sanders even done 1/10 of what Hillary Clinton has done? Secretary.
Well, I mean, Sanders has really only put himself in a position where he's in Congress. I don't think he's pursued stuff like Hillary has before. Yeah, Hillary has been fortunate enough to be put in all these political offices, but I have a hard time trusting Hillary.
Okay, you like
to be
Obamacare,
honest.
right?
I'm not really affected by Obamacare. I'm not educated enough in that field to.
You would like affordable medical care for the majority of Americans, right?
That would be nice.
Well,
Yeah.
Hillary Care came before Obamacare, honey. And she wasn't in any sort of political office. She was only the first lady of the country.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm trying
Well,
to say,
been.
Hillary Clinton gets she's really can take a beating, right? But she's done a lot for America.
No, I mean, I don't hate the woman. Like, I mean, I wouldn't mind her as president. I just think, from what I've seen, someone can come in and tell me something and it can change my mind. But right now, as it stands, my support is for Sanders.
Certainly think she's probably given a beating.
Anyone? Don't be shy.
Well, I don't know. Maybe she wears leather. I don't know.
Let me see.
If I knew
Let me see.
anything
Besides
about the
politics,
subject-
let's figure out something that people won't be so shy at talking about.
If I knew anything about that subject, I would make it something other than jokes, but unfortunately,
I was thinking about, okay, what? Let me see. I
I
guess
don't
talk
even
about.
know.
We could talk about the whole police thing that you were mentioning before.
Yeah, but I mean, even then, I brought it up, and I could detect there's a chilled atmosphere. I was thinking the only thing we can talk about, the two things, talk about God talk, or, I mean, G-Man's gone. Everybody relieved?
I thought he came back.
Oh, he did? He started his channel again? Excellent.
Yeah, no, he's back.
I
Was
heard
it worth
that
the wait?
Jada's back,
No.
and I heard that Jason Burns is back, and I've heard that who else? There was someone else who returned, and I can't remember who.
I heard that Von Helton was on a mission in China. I don't know if it's true.
Oh, really?
I just heard it.
I don't know. He has been quiet.
Was it the Vatican? Oh, China.
China.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm heading for cigarettes. I'll be back in a minute. Yeah.
Because they picked him because of his special face. He looks like half Chinese.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah, special mission.
Okay, what do you guys think about the blocking thing that we brought up in the interview? Do you think blocking is being abused?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Well, who do you got blocked, Simon? Tell me.
Blocking loads of people.
Like who?
Who have I blocked at the moment? Let me think now. Apart from people that have just blocked me, so obviously I block them back. Apart from those people, I've blocked Matt Bell.
Anybody else block him?
Nobody's surprised, I guess.
I've never even talked to Matt Bell.
Hey, Christian.
You.
Hey, Jim. Like,
I've blocked Christian. Oh no, I haven't.
You're blocking. You make a distinction if you block theists, or do you block anyone?
Yeah, I just block people that block me generally.
Wait, how do I check my block list? I'm pretty sure no one's on it, but.
You can go to, I believe it's people in the pull down.
I think.
Can anybody help me? And then your circles, and then you look there if anybody's blocked.
Oh, okay. I have two people blocked. I have my ex blocked and Brett Keane.
Okay, so why do you want to block those people? You just don't want to dialogue with them, or any sort of negotiation?
Well, my ex is blocked for good reason. I don't want to go into that, but Brett Keane has been mean to me in the past, so I just keep them
So you
blocked.
retaliated by blocking him.
Oh, Hillbilly left. Probably because we weren't talking about homosexuality.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, let's come back in.
It wasn't really a retaliation. It was just like, well, you call me trash. You call me trash and all that, but you invite me to hangouts. I don't really want to get your invite, so I blocked him. And I kind of don't want to be in a hangout with him.
Will you ever?
He makes me feel very uncomfortable.
Okay, well, will you ever unblock him just to give him another chance?
Maybe eventually. I just don't want to deal with it at the moment.
Anyone else like that? Like, going to give somebody a chance to be unblocked? Simon?
Oh yeah, yeah. It'll only be a matter of time before I unblock them.
Have you ever just cleared your block list, you know?
Yeah, I did the last time someone said everyone's going to clear their block list, so I just cleared my block list. And apart from the pom bombs, I mean, I don't unblock those.
Yeah, I've never had more than 2 people on my block list. It's just been my ex and Brett King.
Anyone else? Joe?
I did unblock G-Man after like a week or something. I don't think he ever unblocked me though. I
don't think, everyone says that people abuse the blocking function and all that, but if you legitimately don't feel comfortable with someone, then you shouldn't have to be in a hangout with them. You shouldn't be, like, if you're in a hangout and someone who genuinely makes you feel uncomfortable comes in, I mean, their presence shouldn't make you want to leave.
Okay. Does reality work that way?
Huh?
Or like, you go to a cafeteria, but somebody who doesn't like Native Americans, you're blocked, so you can't go in there?
I guess it doesn't, but I mean, it's the internet, and if you have that kind of control, then why not use it? I mean, I don't.
That's true. I mean, I think the majority of people abuse the blocking function in G+.
I think it's abuse if there's someone who you just disagree with, or there's someone who I think if it's used as a weapon to keep certain people out of good discussions, then that's when it's going too far.
Okay, sometimes people want to come into my hangouts. Oh, sorry, Simon.
That's a very good point, Jackie, because on many occasions that has been used against me anyway.
And that's when it becomes abuse, in my opinion.
Yeah, true. I don't mind it, obviously, because I'm up for the rough and tumble, but I think, it's very frustrating when you have to get someone else to go in and do your dirty work.
I also feel like on the reverse end of things, there are certain people who should be blocking other people because, for their own mental health. I see people get so butthurt over insert person here saying this and this and this, and you just hear about it constantly on your G+ feed, and I wonder, well, when are you going to block this person if they make you feel so angry like that, You're not paying your internet provider to make yourself miserable like that.
I didn't look at the socioeconomic. What I was looking at is, like, there always has to be, like, some negotiator, right? Like, somebody wants to come into my room and they tell me, Bunto, I'm blocked. So I have to ask that person, who's blocking them, hey, could you unblock them so they can come in? You guys ever had an experience with that?
Yeah, well, that's why I block back, to be honest with you. Because I don't want them just to unblock me and be able to come in. I want them to have to go to the host of the room and say, someone's got me blocked. Can I come in, please?
Okay, so you do want negotiation.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm not in for blocking, but if someone is going to block me, I'm not going to give them the chance just to unblock me and come into a room where I am. If they're going to block me and stop me getting into a room, they've got to stand up for the same thing back, surely. And I'm quite happy to unblock them, but they're going to have to ask me. They can't
Should
just
we,
expect it to happen. You know?
Shouldn't we be teaching like tolerance? Isn't tolerance a virtue? You know, like regardless of circumstance. I mean, I hate some people on here, dude. Annoying as hell. But I don't block anyone, you know, and I kind of ask the same of everyone else. I'm tolerant.
He's very tolerant.
Well, I mean, there's a difference between blocking someone because you disagree with them and blocking someone because they're harassing you or you know you don't get along. You know, it's not because you know of anything like religious belief or anything, but you legitimately like feel extremely uncomfortable around them.
There's always extenuating circumstances, I understand, you know, but for the vast majority of the blocking problems on Google Plus are childish 10-year-old clicks of the finger.
I agree.
I don't know,
So,
man.
Jackie.
I mean, you know, I think I'm good with Matt Bell because it just stops him coming into a room where I'm in and then dominating the room. So that's all he does is come in and dominate the room. So I can take it for a few times, you know. But if he's
Well,
going
what
to stop me
happens when Matt Bell changes his ways and he wants to, you know, work on the same cordial terms as you, but he can't get in the room? I mean, is there any dialogue with Matt Bell at this point?
Well, he can negotiate with Nadia, and Nadia will tell me to unblock him. And
so that's what I was thinking. I mean, I guess there could be a capacity in this, you know, community for negotiators, right? Just come see me if you need something negotiated. Of course, I'm blocked too.
He's a classic. I know. Again,
you can't tell the truth. You can't give up the game. You can't tell the truth. You can't look at the elephant in the room. You know, it's always the case with people. And
why not just turn off the blocking function for a week and, you know, encourage negotiation? Are you used to that?
I just do it when I'm ready to resume listening to that bullshit.
Like, I finally get a face-to-face with G-Man and say, you know, that wasn't fair of you just to give me 20 seconds.
Well, again, you know, if someone says unblock this person and I don't wish to, then I'll leave the hangout, you know.
Okay, we just got a request from the outside. Somebody asking if you, Simon, can block them so they can come in.
And who would it be?
Sugar.
And she unblocked me.
Okay, so I'm going to, I guess, do a quick ad hoc negotiation here.
Yeah.
Wait, you haven't been blocked?
This is not the most direct form of communication right here. This is indirect.
Dude, that's right.
This is not convenient for the internet, dude. Blocking sucks. This is not the most direct, straightforward, logical path to pleasure. No, we have to nit and pick and go through the internet so someone can get unblocked. This is the problem.
This is the problem.
I mean, it's not really argued about. It's that there's a problem.
I don't use it often, but I think having a blocking option is beneficial.
Okay, she says she has nobody blocked. Sean G from the outside asked if, you know, who do you think uses it more, theist or atheist? I said I had no idea.
Well, are we counting Brett Keane?
Are we counting the deists in the room? Well, yeah, Brett Keane. I'm ostensibly a Christian.
I got two people blocked that has nothing to do with what their belief is. It's just that they're assholes.
Well, that's good. Sean can't come because he's at a bar or something, a gay bar. But look, I say that we should turn off the blocking function for a week and try to extend the olive branch to each other. I think it's worth it.
Use up at least, dude. I mean, there'd be some great stuff.
I just cleared my block list, so.
You did?
Excellent. Yeah. I want to commend Jackie for doing the best thing.
Even though there were only 2 people on there, I mean, I haven't talked to my ex in months, so whatever. And then Brett Keane, haven't gotten any advice from him or
Brett Keane is your
anything.
ex?
No, I said, and then Brett Keane. Two separate people. Oh my gosh.
Bunto, you know the say, you know
Not
the
sick.
you know the saying, "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me." You know that saying, right?
All right. So,
So some people just, they're not gonna change. You know,
G-Man is not
their
going to change.
track record. I don't care about G-Man, really. I don't know why you give this guy such. Really,
Well, he's our leader of this
he's
community.
not. No, he is not.
He's the top of the pyramid, ain't he?
The top of the pyramid.
Okay, who is the leader of the
I
Great
didn't even know
Debate?
there was a pyramid.
I mean, who does everybody talk about? G-Man. Now he's back.
Well, everyone also talked about, J.D. Kane and
Oh,
you
J.D. Kane.
know,
Okay.
yeah. Everyone talked about Zekel and Arcade. I mean, there's a lot of people who everyone talks about.
Like, nobody replaced G-Man. Did you notice that? I mean, they tried to massage this Dreas Sanchez guy, this dirty Sanchez guy, but, there's only one G-Man.
I don't know what's been happening. I've been kind of MIA from the
Where have you been?
community. Moving
To
across the country.
to Kevin
Same.
Land?
Well, well, actually, Kevin moved to Jackie Land.
Either
Oh, to
side of the
Um,
side of the fence, it's the same shit, different fundamentalists.
But I moved to Kevin Land in early June, and then Kevin and Jackie moved to Jackie Land
All
a
right.
couple weeks ago. So we did the whole driving across the country thing. That was fun.
That's fun. Young love. It's great.
Yeah.
Anybody else have young love story? Saint?
Young love, you said story?
Yeah, young love. I mean, look at Jackie and Kevin. That's a young love, young lovers. You know,
So passionate.
So nice, it's so sweet.
My head was up my
Okay,
butt
we
at
can
that age.
stop
Young
now.
love.
yeah, I know, really. What was I doing at that age? I was like, I think I was, okay, how old are you, Jackie?
22.
22. Shit, my head was up my butt in college. And then finally, just the light came on. I started really doing good.
Well, I just graduated a few months ago.
Awesome. Congratulations. You gonna keep going, or are you just gonna go
I'm done with school for now.
Well, keep
No
going
more.
in debt.
Oh yeah, I've got debt. Not gonna discuss that any further though.
Well, I mean,
Wise choice.
it was all worth it. Don't you think an education is worth some debt? I do.
To an extent, but I mean, I was 18 when I chose my college, and I somewhat regret it. But at the same time, I had a lot of really good experiences. So
Hell yeah. Grow fonder of those experiences as time goes by. College was a lot of fun. That's right. Oh, the Army. You didn't go into the military, Jackie, right?
nope.
How about you, Brojo? Did you go to college, or you just straight into the workforce?
College and workforce.
All right. So you look fondly back at college?
Did I go back to college?
I mean, you look fondly at those memories of college.
Yeah. Good experiences, yeah.
LSD, ecstasy. What else? Speed.
Losing track of a couple years.
No, it was more
Dope.
like mescaline, coke,
Mescaline,
a
peyote.
lot of pot.
A lot of pot, man. That's really what smoked. People in high school were smoking a lot of dope, but I guess it really started when I was in college.
my boyfriend and I drove through Colorado, and of course we had some nice little legal weed.
How was it? Good?
Yeah, it was good. Do you know Brian in Exile?
Well, I know Exile a couple of words, but I haven't spoken to her in
Yeah.
years. How's she doing?
Yeah, we stayed over at their place in Colorado, and they just handing
all I
us
know is I hope she's much happier. Is she much happier, Exile?
She is so happy, yeah.
Good, man.
Yeah. Her and Brian are just golden. They're so sweet. They're sweethearts.
So did you go visit Ermine?
Didn't get a chance to, but I think she's gonna be in town here in a little bit because her daughter is going off to college, and maybe we'll arrange something.
She hasn't been around for a while. Where has Ermine been?
I don't know. I haven't been around in a while either, so I don't know what's going on.
But what are your lifetime goals, Jackie? Isn't it to meet Nadia face to face?
I don't know if that's a lifetime goal, but I mean Nadia.
It's certainly Bunto's. Bunto wants to marry.
Isn't Nadia on the East Coast now? I don't know what Nadia's doing right now.
Yeah, she's in New York.
Yeah, if she was still in California like she was a few months back, then
wasn't she in Boston?
No, she made a way. She went from California to Michigan to Boston. Now she's in New York. I guess the next stop is Florida. I guess I don't know.
Right.
So,
she's making the Hillary.
We're making the whole complete circle. I don't know.
Okay,
I think, I think she'd be
if
happier in New York.
She's
from New York.
Like
I think
she
she'd be
was
happy.
earlier this year, then I would have been glad to go visit her.
I just want to say that I got a PM from Sugar saying that she's not blocking anyone, Simon. Do you want her to, like...
She's unblocked.
She is unblocked?
I've unblocked her, yeah.
But Simon, you might have to refresh for it to go through.
Okay.
I'll say, guess what? Congratulations, you're unblocked. Congrats. You're unblocked. Isn't that a great feeling, guys, when you've been unblocked?
Simon, I think you might have to pop out and then pop back in.
Just give me a moment.
You got it, bro.
That's a clever gambit, right? Just claim you've unblocked somebody, and then when they jump out, then they come in and they block you, right? Anyway, congratulations. This is one of the best hangouts ever. Somebody got unblocked. Worthwhile. Welcome back, Simon.
Tell the
Congratulations, Simon.
Tell her to try it again.
I don't mind as long as people don't block me. I'm fine.
I sent her the congrats. I said, congrats, you're unblocked.
Yeah, try it again now, Sugar.
Anyway, like Ermine, meeting these people, Nadia, I mean, it must be a thrill.
Well, yeah, the
When I meet Brojo, that'll be like...
The first time I met someone from the community was obviously my boyfriend, but, yeah, meeting Brian in Exile was really, really cool.
The first guy you met, you ended up hooking up with, right?
Yeah.
Bunto, you're in Cali, right?
Yeah.
Bunto?
No, I'm in Austin, Texas.
Oh, that's right. All right.
Okay. Well, I think our next person is either gonna be Captain Osimo or Scientist Sam.
Everybody likes that guy. It'd be interesting to meet.
Yeah, Captain Osimo lives closer, but I think Scientist Sam might have more time to meet us. I don't know.
No, like if you
we'll see who we meet first. And then there's Hillary Pugh.
Yeah, Hill would be fun. I like Hill a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, what, Jackie, if you met G-Man, I mean, would you be willing to be happy, you know what I mean, cordial with them, or would you just blast them right off the bat?
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't see any reason to be mean. I've had friendly conversations with G-Man. I've never had, like...
How about you, bro, Joe? You gonna blast the guy when you meet him?
When I meet him?
Right.
I didn't know there was an appointment made.
Okay, so would you turn him down, you know, the meeting with G-Man?
If he wants to buy me dinner, sure, I'll hang out with him.
You got to get something out of it.
You know, he's one of the guys across the street that I'm trying to walk away from as he's screaming at the top of his lungs about Jesus. He's one of those guys, you know?
Right.
He has videos of it, of him evangelizing in the streets, and
Yeah, Manhattan.
in real life,
Right,
I kind of
Manhattan.
look, huh?
In Manhattan. Yeah.
Isn't
Yeah,
that
yeah,
silly
yeah.
to be screaming in Times Square and that's like something worthwhile?
Bro, I got shit
Yeah.
to do. Get out of my way, man.
Yeah, but I feel like I could, have a drink with G-Man and talk about like sci-fi
A
and
drink with
stuff.
G-Man.
You're in Manhattan.
Yeah,
You're in Manhattan.
no,
Nobody has time to stop and talk to you, really. I don't
That's
care.
right.
well,
He doesn't
I
understand.
mean he's a big Star. What was it? He liked Star Wars and Star Trek. I'm fine with either. Talking about either.
Okay,
I
if you
don't
had a
know.
choice between G-Man and Patrick Festa, you go with
I go hang out. I go
Sorry,
hang out with
G-Man.
Festa.
Gotta meet up with Patrick.
Pat-Man.
Yeah.
I almost met him too. I was not too far away from him recently, but it didn't happen. Tight schedule.
That would have been a great
Yeah,
final
we almost Kevin
Thank
and I almost met Carson, but
I wanna hang out with lyrics and smoke a bowl, man.
Play some guitar.
play some guitar.
Yeah, I'll bring the
Live
congas.
and lyrics
You on the
together.
guitar, me on the
Um,
congas. That's
I
it, man.
the one person who I want to so desperately meet is 13 Heathens.
Oh, really? You like him?
Yeah. Yeah, he's basically he's kind of like the father figure in my corner in the community,
Wow.
in a way. Yeah.
That's nice.
I'm a regular in his insomnia shuffles and stuff, and he's kind of the guy who Kevin followed for many years on YouTube and all that. So
Does Kevin ever come to the Hangouts?
to shuffles, yeah, to insomnia shuffles, but I don't think Kevin really does a lot of the other hangouts anymore.
Maybe for the wiser. Well, are you there, Saint? Still? Hadn't said much.
Huh?
I was talking to Saint Tommy if he was still
Oh.
here. Well, I just want to thank all our participants coming to this hangout. I think we're going to go ahead and cap the live portion right now. But I wish you all a great week. And hey, enjoy what would you say, bro? 2 weeks summer left or Labor Day?
Yeah, we got about 2 weeks left. Yeah.
So squeeze it out, guys. Do something crazy, huh?
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll
Thank
see
you,
y'all.
Bunto. I enjoyed it. Thank you, dude.
I did too. Have a good one, guys. Hold on.
Later.